Spiritual growth or cut and run to protect your ego, right? A lot of modern men mistake spiritual growth for cutting and running, right? They call it evolution, but really it's avoidance with better lighting. So, real talk, guys. There's a man I know, and he posted this beautifully written post about his divorce. 10 years together, kids, dreams, shared vision. He says he sacrificed himself, lost his fire, felt disconnected, and now, with the divorce coming and the 6 months of difficulty, he's going to coach other men on how to reset, right? But here's the problem. He hasn't finished this chapter. He's skipping the real furnace, the fire that could forge the true masculine transformation and actually achieve a breakthrough versus kick the can further down the road. Just to be clear, this is not evolution. This is not leadership. This is not being a king. This is a boy playing make-believe. King energy looks like this, right? You stay in the room. You speak the uncomfortable, unspeakable truths before the damage is done permanently. You learn to lead without abandoning the mission or the marriage, right? The career and the calling, both and, not either or. And you face the wounds that are in the mirror and not hiding in the meditation cushion. Right? And I'm not here to shame him or shame any man. I'm here to call men to freaking step in and step up. Nurture the boy, master the man, lead like a king. So if you are in that season of disconnection, frustration, marriage is on the rocks, or even right on the edge of walking away, don't chase a new identity or a spiritual reset. Start with self-responsibility. Finish what you're in and then decide what next. Then decide what's next. Right? So here's the full story. Give me 1 second to pull it up. So this is what he wrote. Right? He says, divorce is such a trippy thing. I was with my wife for 10 years, married for 7. We created 2 amazing children and lived a lot of life together. We had dreams, visions, a shared future we were building. And then, little by little, it all came undone. And then all at once, it all just came undone. There wasn't a clear this is over moment. It was more like, wait, really? Is this what's happening now? And we both felt it. We're both spiritual people. We've done our best to trust the great mystery, capital. To stay open to what life, capital L, is showing us. But it was intense. It is intense. What once felt solid began dissolving. There was no bypassing it. I moved through all of it, the shock, the denial, the grief, the rage, the surrender. There were 6 pretty dark months last year. I wouldn't wish them on anyone, but if I had to go through this divorce, I'm grateful this was my version. While we've had our difficult moments, we're navigating it with a lot of love and mutual support. There's still some unresolved stuff between us, and we both hold the belief that this is simply an evolution of our love, a new and different iteration, but the love is still there. And through it all, one thing became clear. When I became a husband and father, I made a quiet decision to sacrifice my needs, to show up for everyone else first, and over time, I gave myself away. It's called self-abandonment. It happens slowly. It sneaks in through good intentions and noble choices, but the cost is your aliveness. One compromise here, one shutdown part there, until one day you realize you don't recognize yourself anymore. I lost touch with me, with the fire, the joy, the hunger, the man I came here to be, and I'm reclaiming him now. I've done this before through brand, and then through another brand. And now I'm doing it again, but this time I'm not doing it alone. I'm inviting a few good men to walk with me. Not a group, not a course, not some $97 download. This is up close, one-on-one, 30 days to reset, reclaim, reignite. If you're at the threshold, grief, heartbreak, burnout, disconnection, and you're ready to move, DM me the word reset and I'll share the details. I only have space for a few, and yes, it's an investment, emotionally, financially, energetically. This isn't for men who want to dip a toe in. It's for those ready to leap. Either way, thank you for witnessing this next chapter of my life. I'm grateful. We're not going back to who we were. We're becoming who we're here to be. Okay, I know this guy. Like, he's in the men's space and was doing like a sex thing for a while, helping guys to find their ideal woman. And then he met this lady, got married, settled down, and typical, right? The new identity of husband and father brought unconscious rules, new responsibilities, new shoulds into his life. And now, because of a spiritual awakeness, a spiritual awareness, they're getting divorced. And he's going to coach guys on what he's going through. No. Just know, this is not king energy. This is still a wounded boy playing in a man's world. Rather than stay in his marriage, instead of resolving his wounds and healing her heart, he's going to cut and run and get paid to stay stuck. And I get it. He's a coach. He's got his shtick, his identity, but he's just kicking the can further down the road. So as I reflected on that, here's what I would say to him, right? I hear the poetry in your post, the honesty, the pain, the gratitude, but also I hear a pattern, not just yours, but a whole generation of men stuck between identities, mistaking spirituality for maturity and turning heartbreak into branding before the heart has actually healed. You say this is your evolution, but is it? Or is it a more palatable way to spiritually bypass your grief, your guilt, and your growth? Because here's the thing. There's a part of you that knows you didn't have to lose her. You chose not to go deeper. And I don't say that as judgment. I say that as a king talking to another man who's still trying to reclaim his fire without owning the furnace he walked away from. You say you sacrificed yourself to become husband and father, that you gave away through noble choices and quiet decisions, but let's be honest. If you were truly leading, not performing, not pleasing, not projecting evolved masculinity, you would have spoken to your needs before they became sacrifices. You would have faced the parts of you that still wanted to be chosen without earning it, that still expected admiration without full presence, that wanted freedom without responsibility. That's not self-abandonment. That's the boy in you trying to become a king without earning his crown. I see your pain. And I know how disorienting marriage and fatherhood can be, especially for men who didn't have a father to show them how to hold both mission and marriage in the same breath. But here's what I also know. Divorce isn't evolution. Leaving isn't leading. Reframing a failure to say the next spiritual chapter just kicks the can of accountability a few miles down the road, wrapped in sacred language and marketing polish. You say you're inviting men to reset. Cool. But please don't confuse walking away with rising up. Don't teach men how to leap when what they really need is an anchor. They need to face their shadows, positive, negative, the enemy and the friend. They need to own their unconscious deals and finally become men capable of staying in the room when things get hard, not run to the next transformation when it hurts. A thriving kingdom isn't earned by running away to seek enlightenment. It's earned through presence, through doing the inner work in the middle of the mess, next to the woman whose heart you cracked, in front of the children who are watching. Not after the fact, not from a distance. You want to reset, cool, but do it as a man, not a brand. And when you're ready to lead like a king, not just some poetic, erotic, emotional performer, I'll be here. Right? Lead like a king, the silent throne. For men ready to stop performing healing and actually become the man their wife and children can trust. And that's really, I see this time and time and time again. I see so many men that go through headache, go through heartache, go through heartbreak, and now they're going to coach people on it. Dude, you haven't finished drinking your tea. You haven't been through this full season. Right? Another guy I know is now, after his second, or maybe it was his third divorce, he's now going to coach men on how to not get divorced. That's not a great track record, other than don't make these mistakes. So what should you do? Well, he's not exactly sure, but he knows what not to do because he knows how to make it fall apart. And this is a problem in the coaching world, right? Is you don't have to have answers. You just have to be ahead of the people you're helping. Except if you're not in a healthy, positive place, it's really hard to take people a place that you're not. If you don't fully authentically own who you are and where you are, oh, your mess is your message. Yeah, kinda. Except when you're still wounded and still projecting and still masking and you're not healed because you don't actually know what you're talking about. You haven't tasted that tea. Right? We talk about this in the Kung Fu world all the time, at least in our Kung Fu family. A beginner will train until they get it right. A master will train until they can't get it wrong. And that is a different different level of skill, a different level of intentionality, a different level of focus. Right? I call that domain mastery. When things go wrong and you still know how to bring it back to peace, you still know how to bring it back to harmony, you still need to know how to bring it back to healing. Right? This morning I was out networking and I was talking, and one of the ladies in the networking, you know, she gets mad or whatever, she brings stuff up from 4 or 5 years ago. And I said, then that means it's not healed. If you're still bringing stuff up and using it to attack, using it to express frustration and anger, using that to poke holes at the man in your life, he hasn't healed that for you yet. Because once it's healed, it hits different. And you don't bring it up to attack. You bring it up and go, remember how it used to be? I'm so glad we're not there anymore. That's how you know you're healed. Right? There are ways to tell, are you truly healed or are you playing make-believe? And all of this is folded into the Lead Like a King program, project, community, movement, right? This thing. I'm getting closer to, it's ready to, I'm like 99% done. And the paperback is going to be coming out soon. I have to like format it a little bit. But I'm ready to pull the trigger on this thing and get it moving forward, because people are struggling. And I see so many wounded boys pretending to be men, posturing like kings, but they don't own themselves. They don't own their impact. They don't own anything. They're still reacting. That's a sign. When people are reacting to a problem, not responding, but reacting, they're still wounded. And that's okay. You're allowed to be. Right? Growth is a process. And sometimes you're most of the way healed, and then you get into a circumstance and like, oh crap, something came up. Awesome. That means more room to step in, step up, open up. You don't need to be vulnerable. Just be raw, real, open, and honest. Own your stuff. And everything changes. So if you want to know more, if you want to be involved, hit me up. You know where I live. You know where I'm at. I'm going to be offline for a couple of days. I'm going to go do an event as a participant, not as a host or a presenter. I'm very excited. I am going to miss my family a lot, but it's only a couple of days. But I'm excited to share the growth and the connections and the understandings that happened on the other side. So it's Thursday. You guys make it a fantastic day. Make it a great weekend. Don't wait. Make it great. Decide one thing you can do to make it a great day, a great weekend, and then go do it. For Autumn, it's easy. Go to Disney. We're 35, 40 minutes away. She never thought we would live here. Does she still bring stuff up from the past? Yeah. Are there some things I haven't healed with her? Yeah, because we're human. Are things in motion? Yeah. Is the future bigger and brighter than the past? Yeah. So I'm excited where things go next and to share more. You guys make it a fantastic day. I'll see you when I see you.